Boom! There it is, ladies and gents. Hey, have you ever wondered how your past is like really stopping you from what you're doing tomorrow? I know I have. That's what we're going to talk about today. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. Yeah, here we go, ladies and gents. Time to drop the heat.
Here we go. All right, all you business pros out there. Before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder, as always, to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review. Help other like-minded business owners find value from our awesome guests. While we rise up in those podcast rankings, we'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be on the show, we'd love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz to schedule your time slot. Don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at Business Bros Pod. All right, everybody, we are so excited and honored to bring yet another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. Today's amazing guest is drawn by a deepening interest in all aspects of the human mind. As a personal and executive coach, he is an international expert combining psychology, neuroscience, neurobiology, and philosophy to teach his pillars to success: the power of letting go, the mind-body duality, how to develop bulletproof confidence in business — that one's really interesting — attitude is everything, and the holistic human. His work highlights the impact of the mind-body connection, and with his coaching, you can learn how to combine it with the heart-emotional connection that can lead you to becoming the best version of yourself. So stop fighting that constant internal battle and struggling with confidence. The Mind Coach is here to help. Joining us today from across the Atlantic in London, welcome to the show, David Rahman!
David, I know it's a completely different time for you out there, but man, we're ready to have some fun. You excited?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's just gone 11 here in the evening, but yeah, I'm up for it.
What's up, Posh? All right, David, let's jump into this thing. I always start with what is it that you're selling? You're an entrepreneur, you're in business, you're out there to help people, but you have to have a product or service. Something's got to make ends meet. So what are you selling?
Yeah, well, I work as a coach, and I've just literally launched my book, my first ever book. So that came out in January this year, and I think it's out in the States this month. So I'm super excited. Super excited about that.
Nice. Yeah. All right. I want to know about the whole.
Wait. What's the name of the book, and where can we find it?
Yeah. Thank you. The book's called Let It Go, and you can find it online, all bookstores, including Amazon, and it's also just been released on Kindle version as well. So that's excited me. I'm going to record in the studio next week for Audible as well. So lots of people have been asking about that.
Did you have any issues with like Disney at all? Because I mean, let it go. Like that's the first thing that popped into my head. I was thinking, if you didn't have any issues, that's brilliant. I mean, that's amazing.
Nothing yet, but hey, that's all publicity, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's exactly right. All right, let's jump into this thing then. Tell me a little bit about your coaching background. Like, I want to know how you got into this space. Why getting into the coaching space? What is it that happened in your life? Because oftentimes, right, we're talking about our past here. What propelled you to become who you are today?
Yeah, thank you. Good question. As a child, I had very little self-confidence and very little self-esteem, and by the time I was 20, I realized, hold on, this isn't right. I'm not feeling like all the other guys were confident. They seemed to be able to make new friends, and I just knew that it just wasn't right. And then I had dark thoughts, I would say. So I went to some dark places in my 20s, and by the time I was 30, I was working as an optometrist. So I was what they call an eye doctor in the States. But it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And I knew I wanted to do something to help people. And that was, I looked into it, researched it, psychiatry, psychotherapy, counseling, but nothing really appealed to me. And then I discovered coaching. And then I thought, right, this is really interesting. This is back in 2000. And I started looking into coaching training, and it was so new, especially here in the UK. And nobody knew what a coach was, a life coach they called them. And I started training then in 2004. When I was working as an optometrist at the time, but I just thought this is for me. You know, when you get that something resonates with you and you can feel it, this is what I want to do. Help regular people find out who they really are underneath the surface and help them rise up instead of limiting themselves. So that's how I started my journey as a coach. And I don't think I work. I love what I do. So it's not really, I don't call it work anymore,
Tell me more about that dark time in your life, because I always feel like those are those pinnacle moments in people's lives where things change for them, right? You can either go down that dark path and then continue spiraling out of control,
Yes.
or you can decide to make a change, or sometimes life changes things for you. You know, what is that core thing, and how were you feeling at that time that kind of shifted your point of view?
Yeah, both things happened to me, to be honest, Hernan. I had some professional exams for optometry. After you leave university, you do a 1-year internship, and they were practical exams, and you sit 10 during the summer at the end of the year, and I failed 8. And I felt so humiliated. I felt embarrassed. I feel ashamed. This was in 1996, and I just felt I wanted to hang myself. Actually, I was looking for the rope, and it was that bad I felt. And then I got through that time. I challenged myself. I did the resets, and within 6 months, I'd qualified. But so it taught me a lot about failure. And how to overcome that mindset of failure. I just sort of dig into my reserves. My ex-girlfriend at the time and my friend, they'd rushed to the house because they sensed it was just before mobile phones, so they'd rung me on the house phone, and obviously I didn't sound right, and they rushed home, and I was in a dark place, but I got out of that, and then the event or thing that really propelled me into really wanting to be a coach was in 2002, my father passed on. And he wasn't an old man. He was in his early 60s. He wasn't old at all. And that really hit me hard, obviously. And then he died in the October, and my son was born in January. So it literally was one out, one in. It was a really hard time for me. But I knew it was time to change. I knew it was time to do something different in my life. And that was really, those were parts of my journey which really triggered me into thinking, well, what is it I want to do in life? Especially the events in 2002, early 2003 with the birth of my son. I knew I had to change myself because I'd taken to a lot of drinking alcohol, nights out and just forgetting the world, escaping. I knew I had to change. I was becoming a person who I didn't like. And
Because tomorrow the sun will rise.
Exactly. And some of those trials and tribulations that we have, they're things that shape us, but oftentimes they're things that stop us from continuing to take on new risks, to try with new relationships, to venture out in business.
Yeah.
How do we take those struggles and turn them into strengths?
Yeah, absolutely. It's at those times when we challenge ourselves. Those times we can hit rock bottom, but I always believe in the power of resilience. My father used to say, David, you're so tenacious. You never give up. And I do think that it's at that time when we learn that what we focus on does expand. And it's a common coaching term. When we look, whatever you look at does become your reality. And at that point, you can ask yourself at your darkest moments, what's the gift in this? What is the gift in this? What can I learn from this? Because where we focus our mind does lead us in a particular direction. So we can either focus, if you look at, we're at a crossroads, you can either focus on I'm the victim of not having enough resources, not having enough, knowing enough people. Like we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, and this is causing a business to suffer. Or how can I pivot? How can I take and learn from this? And how can I challenge myself to do something different? And I believe in that, turning that ship. If you imagine your life or your business as a ship, sometimes we've got to turn direction. And at those moments, we can learn so much about ourselves and our own resilience and our own belief in ourselves. Because it comes to a point where it just tests you on how much you believe in yourself at that time, Hernan. And what do you really ultimately think about yourself in terms of limiting beliefs? And a powerful exercise you can do is just to write down a list of things that you would love to do in your life, in your business, and be honest with yourself and spend about half an hour to an hour just doing that and writing down, I want to have a thriving business. I want to travel the world. I want clients all over the world. And just to write down this list of what you want to do. I want a house in the Bahamas, whatever. And then to revisit that the next day after you've actually thought about it deeply, to revisit it and to answer the question, well, why haven't I got it? What's stopping me from doing it? And then when you put it down, what's stopping you, what you think is stopping you, in there are your limiting beliefs. In there's limiting beliefs. So you might be putting down, well, I'm not smart enough, or I don't know enough people, or I can't afford a PR, or something like that. And then you realize that is the underlying mechanism which could be stopping you from growing your business at that time. Yeah. I can't hear
Bro,
you.
you're muted. What's up with that?
Are you okay?
Oh, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Okay.
So when we talk about,
Hang on. Seriously, we had a "you're muted" moment on the podcast.
I can't believe that. Right?
Come on,
I can't
man.
believe that. I must
Come
have moved the
on,
wire or
man.
something, man. I don't know what I can say. What can I say? It happens.
You're fired. You're
Yeah,
fired.
you know what? That's in the past. We're going back to the future now, right? We're going back to the future. No,
Oh, that's perfect. Wait. Hang on. We got the perfect thing for that. And I can't find it there.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
We're going back to the future on that one. All right. So what I was saying is, when I get into the position where I start writing things that I want, I find that I have one of my limiting beliefs, I think, is I can't think of myself having a different kind of future. Like, I can't think of myself doing something other than what I'm already doing. Is that because I'm already at the happy point, or am I limiting myself? Am I saying that, is there a fear of success? Maybe I'm afraid to go to that next level, so I don't acknowledge that next level. And
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
And I really do believe that. Like, I feel like I've me personally, I get to a point where I'm stopping myself from going to that next level, and I'm trying to look back at my past and identify major events in my life or major upbringings or opinions that really prevent me from taking that next step, because I feel if I can add closure to that, and I don't feel like I had a traumatic childhood or anything, right? But there are still things in our past that are holding us back. And I'm wondering if I can unlock those things, if I can just find out what they are and identify them, name them, and then let them go. Maybe then I can see a future that I'm looking for.
The simple answer to that is we can only do so much by ourselves, to be honest, Hernan. And I would always say, speak with someone you trust. So it might be a professional, like a coach, so someone like myself, someone that you know, and if they can ask you the right questions, Hernan, in terms of what's underneath the surface. If you can imagine an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg is actually what you're aware of at any moment in time. What's underneath the iceberg is in what's called your subconscious mind. So it's the bigger part of your mind, and that controls, and that has all the behaviors, all the limiting beliefs, all the fears that you currently have. And they are buried in that body right under the water. And what happens is, when you start to examine it, and give me a simple question like what would I like to do in life? How do I see my life turning out? What would I regret not doing in life? And you can ask yourself those questions, but when you're busy asking yourself a question, you've got something called cognitive bias anyway. That you are trying to match your reality after what you perceive to be your beliefs. But the answer to your question is, the most powerful way is to really have a conversation with someone to get it out of your system, in terms of what is it that you want in life. Because most people, to be honest, Hernan, most people don't know what they want. They know what they don't want. It's really easy to ask them that. And then if you say what do you want, they might say, I want to be rich. But that's not exactly what I want. That's just money. Money is great, but what do you want to do with it? Oh, I don't know. I just want to be rich. So it's a case of specifically finding out what really energizes you, what makes you happy, what could you be proud of one day, what could you be grateful for, what excites you, what are you committed to? And when you look at these elements and put them together, you can pretty much figure out where your life do you want to go. So in terms of me as a coach and a speaker and an author, I never wanted to be an author and I never wanted to be a speaker. But my message, what happened was I was working with clients over the years and I just started getting these results with these tools I was developing and learning, and I wanted to help more people. So I had to get over my own SHIT and start doing live workshops. And I was absolutely bricking it, scared of doing it. But I just stand up there. And the first event I ever did, Hernan, it wasn't good. I was in this big hotel and I was doing this audience there and I was just all over the place. I had this microphone like Madonna and I just looked stupid. And I know it sounded stupid. It just wasn't working out well. So, but I didn't give up because my message was, I need to help people get over themselves. And I learned that what I learned from that was, my message is, let's deconstruct who you think you are and reconstruct who you really are. And I just thought about that, and that's exactly what I do. And then over the years, somebody said, listen, you've got these great results with these workshops now, and you should put this in a book to help more people. And that's what led to that, So I transcribed my courses and then rewrote it and put it into a book, got a publisher. I was really lucky, but then I knew what I wanted. So I think from what you said, really it's getting clarity. You probably have to have a clarity session, a couple of hours where you are coached to the point where you're off guard and you come out with stuff in almost like you're not aware of what you're coming out with, and then you come out with all this information, and in there you'll be able to discover really which direction you want to go, because sometimes people have got too many directions to go, and it seems that you want to find another addition, another string to your bow. And I'm sure you've got plenty of avenues to take, but sometimes we get scared, sometimes we get comfortable with our own reality, and sometimes we just don't have any clarity on where to go. I hope that can answer your question in some form.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is, I don't know that I have an exact answer because I don't have the exact clarity. And it's funny, James and I are complete opposites in this, right? He's taken tremendous amount of time to sharpen that saw and figure out what his vision is and his clarity and where he wants to go. Yeah. And I, on the other hand, I tend to be that type of person who I'm not super emotional. I'm not the crying type. I don't think it's not that I don't feel these things. It's just that maybe I just don't project them into some way. And it's funny because when I started thinking about this sort of stuff, I'm reading a book right now called "You Can Do Anything If You Only Knew What It Was." Right. And I think that in going through some of the practices that she's putting on, that I really start looking at my past and I really start looking into, well, maybe what I thought was doing one thing actually affected me in another way. You know what I mean? And I'll give you a perfect example. Religion, for example. For me, growing up, my mom and my side of the family has always been very much churchgoers, and they've taken us on trips, across the border where we do missionary work and we give away clothes and we give, do food for a bunch of people, all these great things. And on the outset, it sounds very beautiful and amazing. But what I'm starting to realize is that what a lot of that did for me was limit what I think I deserve. Right. Like there's so many people that are suffering. Maybe, I get to a point and I'm starting to look at this.
Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth.
Yeah. I'm thinking it more
Now, if you
level than a subconscious level. Now I'm really thinking like, well, maybe every time I get to a point where I'm almost going to hit this level of success, I sabotage myself because maybe I'm thinking, like, I don't deserve that. There's so many people who are struggling. There's so many people who need more help. I should give more away for free. I should give more of my time. I don't need that type of success. And I don't say.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
I don't say those things to myself. I don't. But I'm starting to kind of make a parallel between some of these things. I'm wondering, is there any connection? Am I just kind of making it up? Is it really not what I'm thinking, or is there something there?
I mean, there's something called some people have something called paradise syndrome, where everything's going so well, and sometimes they feel they don't deserve it, and it would really depend on, again, where you think you are in life. A lot of what you think there's something in the book called The Blueprint, which is something we all have. And it's based on from 0 to 7, our parents fed us information on how life should be, how it is, according to them, their rules. And then as a sub 7-year-old, you take it all in, and that's your truth. And then 7 to 14, then teachers come into it, and the teachers can make or break you. And we don't remember half of what they said to us or how they made us feel. But our body is a storage recording device. So all the emotions we have are actually locked into our body anyway. I say it's soft wiring because you can't release it. So if you think about the journey then, 14 onwards these days, it's social media, boyfriends, girlfriends, and all that. So what you can think about is that things happened. You might have had a marvelous childhood, nothing wrong, but it doesn't really matter. It's how you felt. It's actually how you felt growing up. You can have 2 children, have exactly the same childhood, but one can grow up to be super confident and the other not. But they had the same information thrown at them, but they just had different personalities. And because of that, we store these emotions, and making decisions, Hernan, is a very emotional led way of life, because that's what we do. If we're in a bad state of mind, we're in a bad mood, we might make a less impressive decision than if we're in a good mood with lots of clarity, So there is a lot to be said about, if you look back at your life, I call it the stick of rock effect. Look at your habits. Look at how you make decisions, and in there's something perhaps that's impeding you or inhibiting you making certain decisions or getting clarity.
Yeah, it's amazing what you find when you start looking kind of introspectively into your own life. And I love the concept that you said there about, having siblings, having the same parents and the same lifestyle growing up and going in completely different ways, because that's exactly the way my family was. I mean, there's 3 of us and we went on completely different paths. And I mean, James and I are still here doing our thing, but his lifestyle is completely different from my lifestyle. I mean, literally, he even has a show on that completely different lifestyle. And I think, and it's funny because he's throwing the little clips here telling me, I don't know if that's how, what you're saying makes sense at all, but he's going through similarly the same thing. He's going through a conflict in his identity. And the conflict really lies on how we were brought up and how society sees the way that we do things. And, we have this outside force that is kind of dictating who we're supposed to be. And I think at some point we need to figure out who we are so we can tell that outside force who we are versus
Ain't no thing like me except me.
exactly like Rocket. So how do we stop our past from affecting our future?
Yeah, good point. Well, you look at first of all, you look at your current behaviors. That's the first thing. Just to understand that our brain, there's the science of neuroplasticity. Our brains can change, but up till now, they've been working in a certain way. And we all have that thing called the blueprint, and it contains our values, our beliefs, our fears, our toxic thinking. And the first thing to do is to find out how you're thinking. How are you thinking? And a really cool exercise to do is to sit down and just to close your eyes and for about half an hour, watch your thoughts. Just watch your thoughts. Sit there. You're not meditating. You're actually watching your thoughts, and actually observe your thoughts, because there's three parts of us. I believe there's three parts. There's the mind, which is like our software operating system. There's the body, which is the physical vehicle we travel around this earth, and there's the other part, the third part, which is like the soul, the spirit, the observer. That's the greater part of us. So the mind it's software. It isn't us. It's just software which has been installed, and it allows us to perceive reality through our senses. So we've got 5 senses. So if you can imagine that you lose every sense, you lose your hearing, your tasting, your seeing, your smelling, your seeing, you're still in there. You just haven't got any contact with this 3D reality we've got. But you're still in the body, you're still alive, but you've lost all your senses. That means there's someone else, there's something else in there as well, besides your senses. Your senses are connected to your brain, and your mind perceives what you see around you, and you make those decisions. So I would observe your thoughts, and that's a really, really powerful way. So somebody might be thinking frenetic thoughts. Somebody might be thinking, well, I've thought a lot of negative stuff over the last half hour. Somebody might be thinking, I've been very doom and gloom. Somebody might find their thoughts accelerating to the future. I will be happy when I find myself a partner. I'll be happy when I get a new car. I'll be happy when my business takes off. So that's forward thinking, and in the future. And you're telling your subconscious mind, I'm not happy, but I will be happy when ... So that's perhaps some of the worst thoughts you can think. And somebody might be thinking, well, actually, all I do is say to myself, if only I went to college, if only I'd said yes to that job offer, if only I'd not gone to that meeting. So they're living in the past. So our mind is like a time traveler. That way of just looking to focus on where is your mind, because you can't change what you don't know. It's impossible. You can't change what you don't know. So that was the first thing. The second thing is, for 1 week, you can wear like an elastic band. It's one of the tools in the book. And for 1 week, you got it. For 1 week, just listen to yourself blaming, complaining, judging, criticizing the world and yourself. Just listen to yourself, first of all. And every time you do it, ping it. That sends a signal up your arm to your brain to register pain, and associate the pain with blame, complain, judge, criticize, regret, resentment, judgment. So you've got all those are negative thoughts and emotions. And what you're doing is you are, every time you ping the elastic band, you're sending a signal up to the brain, you're registering this, I did it again. And what you're doing is you're bringing it up. Remember the iceberg, you're bringing it up to the top surface of the water. So you're aware of it. You can't change something if you're not aware. So as soon as you're aware of it, you go about changing it. You actually say, frick, I don't want to do this. I don't want to blame myself all the time. I'm criticizing myself. And sometimes we wouldn't talk to our dog the way we talk to ourselves. And we do it under the surface. So that's self-awareness, Hernan, is always the first step to change. Always the first step. I've had so many people come to my courses and I work with, and even that knowing and becoming aware of how they were thinking was bonkers. They went on to, decided to change, because if we just use tools and strategies to change on a mind you're not really aware of, it doesn't work. That's why people are forever reading self-help books and doing courses, and they're not changing because they don't know what they need to change. They just know how they feel at that time.
So, by the way, that was very practical and tactical. I love that sort of stuff because it's the simple things like that, those little habits that will ultimately change drastically. You talked about the ship, a ship going from one continent to another that shifts just a few degrees will end up in a completely different spot. So, being able to identify things and just, snapping the wrist there and building the habit, that little bit of change, it makes all the difference in the world. We did something very similar when we tried to correct our own speaking, because we'd say and mks after every sentence. So we grabbed a glass jar and we dropped quarters into it as we were recording our show to really bring it to the surface that I need to make this correction. And it worked. It helped, right? It totally changed. And it was something small, something easy to identify. The other thing I noticed is, the band that I have on is for Memorial, because we had a death in the family. And one of the things that came to my mind when I was there, I was looking through the photo albums and I was like, you know what? We're here on this planet and then we turn into a photo. Like, then it's gone. Then it's like all of a sudden you're not there, right? And so you only have so much time on this earth, and the words that you're using to describe things to yourself, the state that you're in every single day, and how you're addressing whatever comes your way as a problem or an opportunity, those are all things that you can put here and address them and change the way that you look at the world or what you say to the world. And it makes it makes a huge difference in your life. David, thank you very much for coming on the program today. Before we head out, can you let people know how they can get a hold of you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, sure. If they want to go to the website, it's david-rahman.com, and there's the Instagram, David_Rahman. Yeah, feel free to reach out if they're looking for help or inspiration. Just follow me online and or reach out. I'm really happy to help.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I mean, this one was deep for me. You got me right there. I felt a little choked up as I'm going through. Ladies and gents, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I don't know if you're like me. I'm not a super emotional person. There's like a movie every year I watch, It's a Wonderful Life. And at the very end, I always get really choked up. And I know it's a really old movie, so it's no spoiler alert here. But at the very end, when the whole town comes to help out George, that admiration that he feels from all the help that he's given, that is my journey. That is what I feel like I want to bring to this world. And that's why I hop on these podcasts. And that's why I send as much information and as much value as I possibly can. I give it away as often and as free as I possibly can, because that's the impact that I want to make in this world. I hope that when I'm in trouble or when I die, that there's that many people that come back because I made an impact in your life. Yeah, so that's my journey. That's what I do. That's what inspires me. And sometimes I call it fame and fortune, but really it's just love and admiration. So ladies and gents, make sure you guys are out there doing what you need to do, figuring out who you are, and talk to somebody. David is out there to listen. There's a lot of people out there that are close to you and near and dear. Just take that look inside and see what happens. You never know. Sometimes that little snap will go a long way. All right, ladies and gents. Yeah, go for it.
Let me say something. I'm on Instagram. I've never done it before on social media. I'm actually next week for 17 weeks. I'm delivering a free Let It Go program online live next week. So it'll be I think it's 11 a.m. UK time. So it'll be it's for the Americans. It's going to be early in the day, but it'll be up there. Each episode, 17 weeks. I'll be delivering for free the Let It Go program, bite size every week to help people out there. So
at David_Rahman on Instagram. So guys, go check it out. That's the beauty of social media. It's going to live there forever. It's never going to go away. So when I die, I'm not going to turn into a picture. I'll turn into a video. There we go. Video and audio. All right, ladies and gents. David, thank you very much for coming on the show. Guys, check him out on Instagram. Go to his website as well. Get the information you need. You never know, that little piece might change your mind. All right, ladies and gents, we'll see you again mañana. Peace, and we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.